What's up, everybody? Jensen Cummings here. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Second show of the day today. Paige Wiese, who is the founder and CEO of Tree Ring Digital in Denver, Colorado. Paige, thank you for being on the show. Yes, I am excited to talk about the digital customer journey. This is basically like speaking another language for hospitality quite often. We struggle a lot as we are face-to-face human interaction, butts in seats, shoulder to shoulder in the kitchen. That's kind of the dynamic that is in our DNA. It's the fundamental structure of our businesses. So we often struggle and are challenged by thinking about creating hospitality and experience outside of our four walls. So I want to lay that groundwork, and we're going to try to touch on that a little bit because now more than ever, we absolutely mission critical have to have a digital footprint that is meaningful, impactful, that tells stories just like we do when we have people in our spaces. So talk about maybe holistically your thinking when you think about the hospitality industry and you think about that customer journey and kind of how you're trying to put that from a physical space, brick and mortar, into that digital space. Keep going. I didn't even put you in the stream. We're going to go. We're figuring it
There
out.
we go. There we go.
I need to figure out people's digital journey as much as anybody else.
Everyone has just had to dive headfirst into this digital space. So it's definitely, and I think for restaurants and hospitality, they're just used to picking up a lot of people because they're driving by or word of mouth. But right now, with a lot of social distancing and not hearing so much of that word of mouth, and then not driving by something and deciding to stop on the way home,
Yep.
How do we get in front of them? And that's where, staying in front of them with social media has got to be one of the most, that's where we're at. We're all on social media all day long right now, just scrolling through, looking for something different. So start disrupting that space. Get your story out there, get the posts on Facebook finally, and let them know that you're open, how to do business with you, and what you can be doing to stay in front of them and how they can be supporting you. They're even looking for that. Get into those local neighborhood groups and say, hey guys, we're here. This is what we're doing tonight. Come by and get it.
Yeah. When you run into it, I'm sure that you have, I know that you have run into somebody, say in a restaurant, a brewery, anything kind of where we're focused on creating a product and handing that product directly to our end user. And you get pushback like, look, we're really focused on this side of our brand. The digital, that's not really for us. That's for somebody else. What are maybe a couple of the things that you're trying to touch on to dispel that myth? Because it is now mythology. It's not true, right? It's something that we pedestal, but it's not true anymore. What are the couple of things that you're speaking on when you get a little bit of that pushback? Because I know you do.
Really, it's about, they want to know, they're probably judging most restaurants on the outside and as they drive by and what they see. And so what we're trying to do, though, is really your target audience is going to those that they know, like, and trust, and they're looking for, hey, where's a restaurant we can support? What can we be doing? Who has good food? Or, hey, there's a new restaurant in town. Should we even check it out? They don't really want to be the first person to check it out. They want to hear those testimonials and the reviews. And so same thing, they kind of want to hear, how is the delivery going? How is the curbside pickup going? How are these shifts and whatnot happening, since it's new to them? They may not have, or have never really done curbside pickup. But I know, the first time I did it, I was like, I was supposed to have a phone number ready to go to call them to tell them I'm outside in the parking lot. So really embracing that this is new for everybody. But the more the hospitality is honed into this, the better it's going to be for them to really make sure that they're getting those seats filled, if you will, whether it be through curbside or whether it be as things start to open back up, seats inside.
So let's start with website. When you think about website, that is a two-dimensional expression of your brand. So it's very important to understand how you are telling that story, because when you do have that button seat, you get to dance with them. You get to ebb and flow. You get to use your instincts. You get to use your experience and your skill to be able to tweak that experience for each individual guest to have that experience. Online, you do not. You need to think about the way that content is evergreen, and you need to think about the way that it's dynamic. What are some of the top level things that you need, again, knowing that it is meant to funnel people into your restaurant? what are you thinking about at a high level there? What does the website need to accomplish?
The website needs to accomplish, if there's like one right now, your COVID message. Are you open or not? How are you handling it? What are you doing? But second of all, once that we start to open everything up and we start to be able to do that stuff again and getting seats in, now is the time that you should be looking at how your menu is displaying on your website. Too often businesses upload a PDF of their menu, and it's really hard, especially on mobile devices, to actually zoom in, zoom out, or it's literally just an image that isn't even zooming whatsoever. And that's where it's just like, okay, we did it the other day. We were looking at a place and I'm like, I can't even read this menu if I tried. So I don't even know how I'm going to order. But then once we get them to the menu, which is really what most everybody's looking for, it's how do we share that? How many families right now are, hey, yes, we're going to order food, and we need everybody to put in the order so we can call it in, so we can go do curbside, or so that we can make this a quicker process for when we show up. Some of these restaurants are going to limited menus. We're not putting our whole thing out there because we don't know what our food costs are. So because of that, let's trim down and go to a smaller menu. So that's where if we can communicate that on your website of what you're doing, but then how do you share that menu more easily? A lot of them just have a PDF or barely even a link. And how do we then get that out to the next 4 people sitting next to you if you're doing it from an at-home environment?
Okay. PDF image, bad.
Awful.
What is the actual bad? Worse. Don't do it, because again, mobile. Like, pretty much, I'm telling a lot of restaurants, build your website mobile first.
Yes.
Not going from this to this to this. Start with this, and then allow that.
And probably one of the few industries I would say. I mean, I know everyone is saying mobile first, but really it's what does it look like when it is on a big screen? Because yeah, we can easily fill a mobile device, but it is the journey of the desktop at the end of the day. However, yes, almost everybody is pulling up a restaurant at the office trying to say, hey, people, we're going to order lunch today. Hey, we're doing this. And they're all on their mobile device. Or I'm waiting to pick my kid up from an event. How do we, look at the menu to figure that out? And so, yes, mobile is where most people are looking for restaurant menus.
I know there's lots of things that I'm on my laptop that I search, that I'm in this mode and I search. Restaurants are never one of them.
No, they're always like, what's near me? What do they have? Should I drive over? And that's real. I mean, I can't tell you the number of times I've done that. Let's pull up their menu right now before we even drive over there to figure out if we should do it. Especially right now. Great. We can get butts and seats as these things start to open back up. But is it worth that drive? If, should I go over there and waste my time or drive the whole family over there to sit down and find out that they're not selling our favorite dish, or to find out they're not open yet, or whatever, because not all restaurants are wanting to open right this second.
So what format should menus actually be on a website?
I would 100% code that out. I tell restaurants that day in and day out. It makes it a lot easier for you guys to change pricing. Is whether it be someone on the restaurant team, whether it be the general manager, if something changes, you can update it right then and there. It'll reflect and go mobile. The number one reason I love it, besides user experience, is going to be that it actually helps you a lot more in the search engines. When your menu is there, let's say I'm looking for mac and cheese in Denver. If you have a coded out menu, the search engines start to see that word and they're like, hey, we found this somewhere on their site. Maybe we want to stop in for some mac and cheese. So, but when it's a PDF, they don't see it. They just see a giant block of white space.
Yeah, they can't crawl that at all. That information has no value when it comes to, and then that goes right into SEO. Like restaurants are like, what the fuck is SEO?
What is it? Yeah.
And they're like, all right, we throw a bunch of money at keywords, and a lot of what they're doing. Break that down for us a little bit, because I think it's something that we're like, that's not a real thing. That's not how we operate our businesses. That's not the way that we think about our businesses. And then on the flip side, there's a lot of restaurants then that just said, fine, I'll throw money at it. And they're going about it the wrong way, because the companies that are implementing that are basically just, to your point of keywords, there's a lot I've seen where they're like, cool, it says mac and cheese 278 times on your website. Right. You're going to rank very high, yet the content is complete garbage and has nothing to do with your pizza place. You don't even sell mac and cheese, but they're trying to rank high. So talk about SEO, what it means, and then some of the practices that you believe in and do not believe in.
Perfect. No, with SEO, that's going to be that search engine optimization and the concept of where your restaurant or brewery or whatever it is in hospitality is showing up in the search results when someone is looking for you. Obviously, as brick and mortar, we need to be focusing most heavily on the location base and where, like, are you showing up in the maps? Are you showing up in the top 3 of the maps? And what does that look like? And so those are things that we take into account. The second side of that is going to be, what are the dishes that you're good at, or what is it that you're offering that you know people are coming in the door for? I know as we start to get beautiful weather here in Denver, that it now comes down to who has patios, where can I go get a happy hour, where can I go do these things? And so make sure you're promoting that, because when we start to do, like, that's what they're looking for in the search. They're not looking for best American, food or cuisine in Denver. They're specifically looking for something. And what is it that you're good at? Not everything, and not the top searched thing for food, the dishes that you like and that people come in for, you're known for.
Yeah, I think that's important, to not get caught up in what everybody else is doing or what everyone wants necessarily, but what you do exceptionally well, what your point of differentiation actually is. And then figuring out, then the nuance comes in where it's very personal. If you do mac and cheese, anticipating the way that people are going to search that terminology to make sure that you fit into that framework, not any framework around any product, because you are.
And don't go so broad either, where it's like, we just want to rank under Chinese food. Great. Or we just want to rank under breweries. No. I'm a Belgian beer drinker. Like, show me the breweries that do Belgian beer. Now I'll show up and you will get me in that door way more often than just what breweries nearby, do they even serve what I want to drink? So honing in on what that stuff is that the end consumer is coming in for.
Understood. One thing that I still talk about, but very early on when we were starting to develop restaurant websites, like we're in the Stone Age or something, but when we started, one thing occurred to me very early on. I was like, what is the purpose of your website is the most important thing, just like everything else. What is the purpose of this? And the single most important purpose for a restaurant is a reservation. There's a couple of reasons. One, you just want people to transact in that way, make the reservation so that they come to your restaurant. Two, because of platforms like OpenTable, if somebody goes to OpenTable's website and books with you, it costs you X amount. But if they come to your website and still book with OpenTable, but through your website, it's a quarter of the transactional fee. And so having people in your portal versus an OpenTable is very valuable. Is the number one function of a restaurant website still that? And then when do you think about the second layer or third layer, what are the other parts that you're thinking about are the most important for a restaurant website?
The biggest thing that I like to talk to about when we're doing restaurant websites is the environment. What are we doing in the restaurant itself? Because that's what they're coming for, is that experience. Let's carry that over to your website. If you lack on that experience on the website, they're probably not ever going to step into your restaurant to experience that. And so building up that expectation, show them what the lighting might be like. I always say too, is this a place I can take a date to? Is this a place that I can take a business meeting at? Is this a place that I can go hang out with friends at? Do I need to dress up if I'm going? All of that should be conveyed through the website experience. But then from there, absolutely. I think right now, obviously, we all know delivery and takeout, not even because of COVID, but long before, that is what started to take over. And so making that an easier step, and to your point, is that using a third party to handle the delivery, or is there a way that we can do it that they're using you? My point to them always is, you are spending marketing dollars to get them onto your website. If you are spending the money then to send them out the door to OpenTable or to Grubhub or whatever it might be, you are now losing money on the marketing side and money on the third party. So instead, if we get them to your site, get them to take the action there. Pick up the phone and place the to-go order instead. Pick up the phone and make the reservation, or make the reservation through your point of sale system, whatever that is, and make them do that directly through you, and then go from there. You can still be on third-party sites. However, don't waste the marketing money to get them to your site, only to push them right back out and lose more money on the second side of that.
Yes, OpenTable was the thing that was very zeitgeist for 6, 7, 8 years. And now it's like thinking about the delivery apps very much in the same way. You want to own that resource, because if somebody goes to Grubhub or DoorDash, great, and finds you, cool. That may be a transaction you would not have gotten. They may have created a marketing channel that you would not have been able to exploit on your own. Yet if somebody's coming into your portal and then they're going to DoorDash after that, they're not actually your customer. They're DoorDash's customer. So very important distinction for people to understand.
DoorDash is getting that email address too, so it's harder for you to continue marketing. Like, yes, you'll have the tools with those third-party platforms that you can continue to market to, but you don't own those tools. If they decided to shut your account down, or they decided to go out of business, or whatever that comes down to at the end of the day, you no longer have the marketing tools, so you can't drive them back. If we can get them over into your website and into your system, now we can continue marketing to them on the long term too. And so those are some ways that you can maximize by building that. And yeah, it might cost a tiny bit more up front to have it specifically built into your website and not getting them over there. But if you can own that list, you can keep marketing to it all day long then.
Yeah, and don't get it twisted, people. Like, if you're in pizza or anything and you're blowing up on DoorDash, eventually all those platforms will start to own the biggest movers. They are already moving into pizza, into those. And then the gatekeepers, it gets really expensive to be able to show up above their own brand. So I want people thinking about that as well. And so then when you talk about developing the website, you talked about coding in the menus themselves, important things like that. People with websites at restaurants, whatever, I'll just get a Squarespace site and have a whitewash background and I'll figure it out. It's not really that important to my brand. Yet I really like the point that you just made about when people go onto your website, when I'm here on your website, I should already feel whatever it is that you expect me to feel when I go into your four walls. And so how does that come about? Is that just a different skin on the website? Is it like picking the right theme, or is it really actually cultivating your brand and developing it when you're looking at your website?
You know, the amount of time most restaurants and the ones that stay around spend on messaging, their story, their branding, to go inside to what's going on the walls, to what words are we using here, what does that sign look like? All of that time and energy should also be going into the website. That needs to be so consistent from start to finish. But instead, we do see a lot of them do what you're talking about of, hey, we've got this amazing, we spent so much time creating this super cool industrial look. We, fire torched the wood and everything that made this unique experience inside. And then we slapped up a website, threw a couple photos from my iPhone up there, and that's that. And it's like, no, that's how you're getting them to make that decision. I would say most everybody is viewing your website first and making that decision to walk in your door, unless it really is that I just drive by this every single day on my way home from work. But I can't tell you, it's the let's search it first. Okay, great. It's got enough reviews on Google or Yelp or whatever. Let's go ahead, look at the website, look at the menu. Do they have the type of food I want? And we've seen it, really, really crappy food photos compared to, oh my gosh, that is just mouth-watering, delicious. I will show up. Those things all matter from start to finish on the website. So it kills me when we see restaurants just slapping up a website and hope it's going to do well for them.
Yeah, and I think tangent outside of the digital, when I think about real estate and I look at how much that is putting pressure, financial pressure on the business and driving those margins down, and then forcing poor decisions downstream in the way we invest in our people, the way we invest in our product and our process, the way that we invest in our brand, our storytelling, our messaging, our website, and on and on and on, is you are over leveraged. And so you're counting so much on that person driving by. Yet when I think about the amount of people that drive by the internet, it's exponential. The internet is exponential to the amount of traffic. And we look at those numbers. What's the traffic flow? Oh, wow, there's 20,000 cars that drive by my location every day.
Yeah, that's where they choose where they want to buy that real estate for sure.
Yeah, and so now we're thinking about, but 20,000 people drive by the front of your store, might look at you. But there's probably 120,000 people that potentially could find you on the traffic that is your website. So
more people are searching, like at their house, where should we go tonight for dinner? What's around me? But if you're not showing up, and you're not there at all in the search engines, they're never going to find you. Or if your website looks like crap, they're not going to be like, yeah, let's take a risk tonight and spend the 5 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever, driving over there and checking it out for the first time. They need to know they're there. Plus, I always think too, the second you start taking shortcuts, great, we slapped up a website just to open up. Where else are you taking shortcuts? Are you taking shortcuts in the food you're creating? If you're taking shortcuts in the photos, then what else are you cutting on the ingredients? Like, it is perception. And the second you start taking shortcuts on that end, like that facing on the client side, what are you doing on the side we're not seeing?
You're done. And so I think about also just the way that people pay attention, where and how the eyeballs are interacting in this moment is important, because don't get it wrong either, guys. Like, when somebody is driving by your location, they're not looking around anymore. We no longer
they're on their phone, unfortunately.
That's what I was about to say. You're at that stoplight that's right in front of your place that you thought gave you a static moment for the look by. They're on their phone. The passengers are on their phone the entire time.
The passengers are no longer looking as they're driving, even, where like before it was like, hey, at least, you got everyone else looking around. Nope, none of them.
Yeah. They are on their phone. And then when I think about geotagging and the possibility for like people that were customers to then have push notification, and then all of a sudden they are driving through that parking lot because they were at the dentist, right? And all of a sudden something pops up for them. There is a lot of ways that you can interact with them. So let's go beyond website a little bit, because now we're talking about some of the capabilities of, like, let's say Facebook or other platforms. So when you think about the website is the hub, right? The website, the central location now where all communications for your restaurant are coming from. Whether you like it or not, this is
that's where it's going.
Is coming from. Now you talk about all these ancillary places, and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, all these different places where you can be digitally more dynamic. So talk about that, touch on that a little bit. I don't want to go so far in the weeds because I wanted to focus on the website, but just talk about how those other ancillary elements feed into the potential for your website and your digital customer journey.
When we are looking at brick and mortar and location-based businesses, what we're noticing is that Facebook is one of those spots where everybody is at right now, especially your demographic, which is going to be the parents. Back in the day, yes, Facebook used to be much more the younger generation, but now it's much more parents that are making the decision on where they should go and deal with the family for dinner or lunch or breakfast or whatever. But they're also going in there for recommendations and, like, who do you know, like, and trust type of thing. And so stay in there. And if you're a local restaurant owner, then get into those groups and chime in when people are asking questions, because you're no longer advertising on behalf of the business. You now look like a community member and saying, hey, we recommend this restaurant, or hey, I own this restaurant. We'd love for you to come check it out and support the local neighborhood, whatever that might be. At the same time, posting what's going on. If you have, events or whatever, or you have open mic night, or you've got these, Geeks Who Drink or whatever it is event happening, put that stuff on Facebook, because it shows up. So when people are looking for things to do, if you've got a wine pairing, something random to bring people in for a new event to just get this experience going again, put it on Facebook and get it out there. Instagram is helpful because it will pull people in. That's a really good drink. Where do I go to get that? Boom. But Instagram, I say you need to be encouraging the consumer to be posting. I know I'm one. I will go to a restaurant and be like, look at that food that just came out. But if I don't have an Instagram icon around me, I'm going to enjoy my meal. So put things around the establishment that encourage them to do what you want them to do. If you're on Instagram, encourage your customers to post onto Instagram. Encourage them to leave you reviews, but you need to be doing that right in front of them. I say your customers are your best marketing thing that can be spent, but they don't know to do it. If you do not put it in front of their face, they will not think about doing it. And now you just lost them.
So many things. This will be the soundbite, what you just talked about. It's cut out of this. You said all the things that are important. So there's a lot to unpack there. One, I also tell restaurants, and they think I'm crazy, and they think I'm crazy for a lot of reasons, but I tell them, get on TikTok. And they're like, it's a bunch of 14-year-old girls. I was like, 14-year-old girls are the best negotiators when it comes to where to go and spend money. So pay attention. Also, if you're investing in your restaurant in multiple years, in 4 years, they'll be going to college and need a job or have their parents' credit card, whatever. They will be a part of your ecosystem if you're if you're investing. I also really like what you said about being engaged. There's a restaurant, I'm gonna give them a shout out, right behind our place called 5280 Burger Bar. Don Redlinger, the owner, is the mayor of our little Bradburn up here. I'm gonna, now everyone knows where I live. Don't come to my house. But anyway, they are constantly posting in there and being engaged in that community. This is very Gary V. He is the mayor of our little town. If somebody was running for mayor in this tiny little area, he would be it, right? And so they've done an amazing job. And now there's lines. They sell out of 150 meal kits every single day because they're engaged in building actual community, not transactional sales. So you see that playing out again and again, don't you?
That was, there's one up in Estes because that's where my parents live. And so I was up there for a bit during this quarantine. And every single day, my mom would be like, oh, Anthony's Pizza's doing this, they're doing that, they're doing this. Oh my gosh, now they've got bread for the more. Oh, they're handing this out for free. They're doing this. I've never heard of this place before, but my mom could not stop talking about it. But it's like, if my mom can't stop talking about it, think about what everyone else in the community is doing. And so who are they going to continue to go and support? But not only that, they're staying front and center. Do you know how many times we ordered pizza because we kept seeing this come up over and over and over again? So when it was like, what should we do to eat tonight? Let's go get pizza. It sounds good. And hey, they're supporting the community. Let's go support them, So it really is like, show them you're here. It doesn't have to be big gestures. It doesn't have to be like game changers where, oh my gosh, we just are doing, handing out food. Nah, do something though that shows you're invested in the community, because that community is the one that's showing up day in and day out to support you.
That's it. And I also like what you talked about, for Instagram, like poking them just a little bit, letting them know you can even engage in that further. You see their phone up on the table. We demonize that a lot. Like, people aren't even paying attention to their experience. They're on their phone. Like, what the hell is going on? And I get it. I understand. I also understand that this is human nature. And if you're going to fight against the market, you're going to lose. And so that if that phone is there and they're wanting to capture their experience, and you saw them take a picture or two, why don't you say, hey, can I take a picture of you guys as your dessert's coming out? Pick up the phone, take a picture of them and say, and feel free to tag us. Our Instagram handle is X, Y, and Z. What are those people going to do? They're going to post it to Instagram. You just captured a moment for them. They're never going to forget that, and their audience is going to remember, because you created a hospitality moment and memory.
You created an experience.
That's it. It's so.
But if they don't know that you're active on it, and they don't even know that you've got not a hashtag, but a handle out there, they're not going to think about it, or they're just going to tag the photo and not tag you whatsoever. So you need to go and put that in front of them and put that as like a snippet of, oh yeah, I should do. I know I was waiting for somebody at a Mexican restaurant one time, and I was just flipping through their little menu, the little, tri-top thing on the table. And I was like, oh, I could get a little discount if I post a photo and my chips and salsa just came out and it's delicious. All right, I guess I'm waiting anyway. I might as well just go ahead and post it to Instagram real quick. I would have never taken a photo and posted it to Instagram and given them a shout out if it wasn't in my face.
Yeah. What does that happen? 5 times a night? You amplify that by their 112 followers. All of a sudden, you have over 1,000 people that potentially have seen and interacted with your brand that never have before.
And that's the hard part with Facebook, where, a lot of clients will come to us and say, hey, we want to do Facebook management stuff, where it's just, will you post on our behalf? And I'm like, I will. We can do that. However, that ROI isn't so much there. It's really building the engagement. However, because the Facebook is really just going out to those that already are following you or like you, which is good. And it may help in their hospitality for retention, but it isn't so much going to help with attracting new people. And so for that's where you have to go into what you were explaining of creating the experience that the consumer starts to put it on their Facebook or their Instagram, because now you reach their entire network, not your small little network that you already knows about you. So that's where we try to build that journey with them a lot more when we start talking to hospitality about social media and how to be using it.
I love this. And we could have like an episode for 10 episodes for every single point. It's important. What I appreciate about this conversation is I hope just one little piece, one little snippet of what we talked about lands for someone who goes, okay, I get it. No PDFs. That to me would be the biggest win ever if none of my contemporaries, none of my friends, none of the people in our industry ever have another image or PDF of their website.
I would be so happy. I would love it if they never do a PDF again for a menu.
But being on the technical side, I'm sure it's just like pull your hair out. We have lots of those things in the restaurant as well. And all of a sudden we are perpetrators when it comes to that for our menus online. So I really appreciate that. Any last thoughts when you're thinking about this? And then I want to get some of your playlist items as always.
Last thought right now, just communicate the crap out of what you're doing. I have not gone to restaurants because I didn't know if they were open or not. I have not gone to restaurants because I didn't know if I had to call ahead of time to place the order or if I can place it, how long I'd be waiting if I did call right then and there in the parking lot. Can I go in and order and wait and leave? Do I order? Communicate that. Right now, it more than ever, we just need to be clear on how to do business with you. And that is the thing that I would leave people with is over communicate more than you ever have. Use all of the platforms that make sense to do so.
Communicate is the number one word that is expressed on this show. I talk about how all I'm doing right now is hustling and communicating because it turns out that's all I ever have done. I'm just being realistic now because I can't do anything else. I have no other bells and whistles. So communicate. Just because you've spent all day or all month or lost sleep over thinking about one decision or another, and then you make that decision and you create that action doesn't mean anybody else has any idea, including your internal guests. Your staff a lot of times are under communicated too. So not agree more. Empowering us on our digital footprint to be able to have that customer journey be seamless and thoughtful, and hospitality through every step of interaction. That's it. Like Paige, that's it. Really appreciate it. I know you and I are going to talk a lot more about this because coming out of this, we have to commit all in on hospitality at every level. And a lot of that communication is going to start at the digital level. So amazing. I love it. I'm fired up. The energy is, I'm going to go on to all the websites of my best friends and be like, dude, you have a PDF of your...
You still have a PDF.
Yeah, stop it already. Paige says so. All right. A couple playlist items, maybe as you're coding menus. Are there a couple things that you might be listening to, reading, watching, anything that keeps you energized or focused?
Oh man, I've learned that I cannot multitask with like podcasts and trying to code at the same time. I've tried and it doesn't work. So usually I'll just jam out to a lot of music or something. Right now, it's been a lot of, there's like a James Arthur radio on Spotify. And when I'm really just down and not feeling it whatsoever or trying to boost my mood, as ridiculous as it sounds, Celine Dion is my go-to of just pump it up and forget about everything else going on. So that's my little secret one that no one always knows about or predicts.
I love it. I mean, when Celine Dion belts, even if you're not in her music, how do you not get goosebumps though? Come on.
How do you not? I will go running and just crank it up, and I'm sure people are like, "Oh, she's got to be listening to like something hard over there." And no, I'm just crushing it to Celine Dion and running as fast as I can. So
that is perfect. See, this is why I love the playlist. You never know what's going to come out. You're like, no. There's no alt rock for me. I'm going Celine Dion ballad all the way.
The whole time. The louder it is, the better it is.
That's amazing. Amazing. Paige, thank you so much for the inspiration. Thank you for some of the practical knowledge. I like how we got to ebb and flow between storytelling and like getting shit done correctly. So thank you so much.
No, thank you so much for letting me be on your show. And I just really enjoyed, the back and forth that we get to have. Speaking that same language is always nice with someone who, really gets it, understands, and can help really hit that message a lot harder than necessarily one voice can. So I appreciate everything you're doing, and I look forward to more conversations with you.
Yeah, and I'm with you all the way until you start coding, and then
I'll take over from there.
That you got that all language. I got no chance there. So I appreciate that you do it and I don't have to. So cheers. Have a great day.
You as well. Thank you. Bye.
A lot of takeaways from that. Number one takeaway. Do not have your menu as an image or a PDF. Okay. Number one takeaway. So important. And I know still a lot of people do. Your website is an extension, and moreover, in this moment, might be the nucleus of your brand. And I know it's hard to hear that. I struggle with that, being like, no, the restaurant, that's the heart and soul. And that's true. Yet the mouthpiece, the point of the interaction, where it starts, is now more than ever your website, your digital footprint, the platforms of social media and all of it. And I know it's hard and I know people don't want to hear it. It is just the truth. And either we can put the past on a pedestal or we can adapt like we always do, evolve like we always do. And I really like making your website feel. Hospitality is a feeling, making it feel just like what they'll experience when they walk in your doors, and creating that experience of high touch hospitality in a 2D platform is a huge challenge, especially when we are fueled by face-to-face human interaction, by that high touch hospitality. You have to develop that website. And so appreciate hearing that for sure. And definitely Tree Ring Digital, hit them up. They're doing some good work, and just the communication, just the understanding of what it's going to take to be able to flourish in that space, even though we're not always going to understand it, is important. And if we can be a part of the process of not just creating a website that looks cool, that does cool shit, but truly feels like an extension and the nucleus of your brand, it's going to make a big difference. All right. That's it for today. I'm headed up to the farm. We are going to Black Cat Organic Farm, picking up some mulefoot pork, some beets, some greens, and some other goodies, I'm sure. I'm excited to get out in nature. I am not going to be listening to Celine Dion or anything. I am going to be listening to the birds chirp. I'm not good at that. I'm too much of a city boy. But today we're going to do it. So appreciate the pivot that they've done. Check out Black Cat Organic Farms as well, or check out their mobile ice cream truck that they converted into a produce delivery, and they hit up neighborhoods up in the Boulder County area here. I hope somebody in your neighborhood, wherever you are, is doing exactly the same thing. Cheers.